Well, welcome. Strange time of the year to be talking about football. Strange time of the year, but a happy time of the year to talk about Milford athletics. I mean, everybody always makes fun of me for calling this the center of the universe, but for once, you've proven me right.
Happy to do it.
Let's start with an introduction.
Peter Boucher, Milford High School, Stacy Middle School Athletic Director, running 100 miles an hour, and we're happy to be doing it. We just got to keep going until we get to June 30th. We're excited. The kids are practicing and playing. We're in a good place.
Pete, talk to us about All Eyes on Milford. This is something that we can really feel. I'm proud of the girls, and you'll talk about them.
Sure.
Because they've done something that nobody expected.
Yep.
At least no layman expected.
True, very true.
But
very quietly.
You brought an interesting perspective from day one when you came on and said, I have student athletes.
Correct, yep.
And you set out to set programs in place that really made well-rounded Milfordian kids. But it's hard when you're one of 300 towns in Massachusetts.
True, very true.
One of multi-thousand towns to get national attention.
Yes.
Tell us about it, because this has got me excited.
Yeah, no, so this is really, it's really interesting. So I was invited to be one of, I think it was 4 athletic directors to be on the state task force between DESE and the MIA and whatnot. So I have to be honest, I don't really know how that happened, but I was thrilled to be invited. It was a lot of work. We worked a good 10 or 11 months. And through that, I got connected with the NIAAA, which is the National Interscholastic Athletic Administration Association, and really started to work on a national level. And so through this time frame, what had happened is a couple of the NIAAA guys in New England started to watch us on Instagram and Twitter, our website. And, I think that the nicest way to put it, really, just to sort of frame it, is people really started to watch what we were doing. I think a lot, and I want to be respectful as I can to other towns or other districts in the whole country. Some people just shut down and said, well, we'll wait till it's over. Some people did a little bit of work. We said, in Milford, yeah, we'll be practicing. Well, you're at home. You remember during the time frame where we were at home and the whole state was shut down, the whole country was shut down. Well, our coaches were coaching. And we were on Twitter, and we were on Zoom, and we were on Google Classroom, and we were running practices from home where, Andrew Manini, boys volleyball coach, great example. He was one of the ones that was just this national sort of phenomenon where he's running a boot camp from home, and he's got all of his volleyball players, on the screen. Everybody's doing push-ups, and now we're doing squats, and now we're doing mountain climbers. And we just decided, the district, just got behind us and said, hey, we want our coaches coaching, and you guys are going to work, and we're going to keep pressing forward. And we would basically do all sorts of just unique things where, we set up some Milford trivia. We set up some national trivia. We would say, hey, baseball is going to practice at 4. Well, how do you do that? Well, me and my son are going to go throw the ball in the backyard, and we're going to videotape it. We're going to send it to the coach and prove that we practiced. But the entire team went out at 4 o'clock. Or if the brothers were on a team, or there was a softball and a baseball brother and sister, they would practice. Some other things we did in the spring, where we did something called the Spring Fling, where like on a Saturday morning, everybody went out to practice at 10 a.m. Track team went and ran. Lacrosse team went out and threw the ball around, but not with each other, but everybody around town saw the kids practicing. So people started taking notice of our videos on Twitter and social media, and we gained a following that I had no idea that was happening. We were just doing our thing. So the NIAAA checked in a couple times and said, hey, how are you doing this? And I said, well, we had this leadership academy. We've been doing it for 6 or 7 years. I check in with the captains, and they thought it was kind of unique that we were having weekly meetings with all of the captains. And I said, well, that's just kind of how Milford does things. Like we just roll, we rock, and people just got behind us. And so there was been two national conferences via Zoom, right? Normally you would fly down to Georgia or you would go to Texas. And on both of them, they put Milford in the spotlight, and they said, hey, we want to do a half-hour segment just with Milford athletics. And at first I thought, well, are we kidding? Like, just us and the whole country? He'd say, yeah, we'll script the questions and we'll check in, and we just want you to talk about how you did what you did in the Leadership Academy and how you had the communication and the coaches buy-in. And I said, it was never an issue with the coaches. It was never an issue with the kids. It was never an issue with the families. It was never an issue with the teachers. Everybody bought in this town. I said, you have to kind of know 01757 to really get it. So I think really what was cool is we got to, 2 half-hour segments with the entire country, all the athletic directors, that were at those conferences. And I think people just got a chance to see that, this is what Milford's always done. I don't want any credit for this is what Nick Zakili did ahead of me, and,
I hear you. And, Nicky was wonderful, and the people
Awesome.
Before him, you go all
To
the
Corbin,
way back.
all these guys
to
were great.
Corbin, the whole crowd.
Yeah.
But you set up an environment. It would have been easy to skate behind Nicky and draft what he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could have rode that out in a nice, easy manner. And the first time you came on the show, you got my vote when you said, I have student athletes.
Yeah, we never say athletes. Sometimes I'll say the players, but it's student athletes. You
But
got
it's
to perform in the classroom.
mentality.
Yeah.
Less than 0.1%. I mean, the kids who are stunning athletes in Milford will be good athletes in college, but now they got 300 other towns.
That's it.
And then they go, my cousin really put in perspective when he told me when he kicked for Milford High. He was doing 45 for 48 yards in high school.
Yeah, those are good high school. Those are really good kicks anywhere.
And he leveraged that into a full ride at Brown. Now, you can't beat the fact that you got 4 years of an Ivy League education for free. So Corbin and crew did well by him.
100%.
And then he said, I was always the wise guy who let everybody kick, and then I'd walk around about 5 yards behind them and kick over their heads.
Yeah. I like that.
He said, we got to college. Okay, guys, go. Oh, you can kick that far? That's a good warm-up. Let's push back.
Yep.
He says, I went out
like
for the Patriots, for the NFL. And all of a sudden, I'm looking over my shoulder, and there's guys behind me.
Yes, yeah. Always a bigger fish. You got to be always playing, always practicing.
You sat there and said, well, what did you do? He said, well, I went off to Johnson & Johnson, and he became a VP of business development.
Yes, yep.
Okay, so in a way, the Milford athletics and the Brown athletics paid off.
100%.
Because he got a leadership position in a major pharmaceutical healthcare company.
You use that athletic talent as a vehicle to get where you want to go.
Discipline.
Absolutely.
Life
skills. Totally agree.
When I see the kids Holy Cross, I had a full-time job called student. And to keep up with all the prep school kids and all,
yes, yep.
It was 40 hours plus of study in every week.
It is a full-time job. You're right. It's the reason you're only taking 4 or 5 classes a semester. There's so much work and effort in one class.
Then I see the athletes. They've got a full-time 40-hour-a-week job being a basketball player, baseball player.
Yep.
And Holy Cross is one of those schools that won't cut your break.
No.
You still have to meet the academic requirements.
That's right. You got to perform in the classroom to perform.
They'll give you tutors, and I'm all for that. Help them out. But they won't cut your breaks.
No.
You're not going to get out of there with a basket weaving degree that's useless.
That does nothing for you. Nope. No.
I really, really like what you're doing with the kids and the whole idea of the Leadership Academy. That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because you're teaching the kids discipline, responsibility.
No, and it's true. What we've done with that, and that has gathered more and more attention. The last 2 summers I've presented, with the NIAAA also. Like I think for us, the people in Milford, and I consider myself an adopted Milford person now. My joke. I was born at Milford Hospital. It took me 40 years to get home. Right. That's how I look at it. But people have, for the most part, people have adopted me and they've embraced.
Well, but something, Pete. I was born in Milford. We joke around saying a true Milfordian, 3rd generation Milford, and I lived within 2 miles of my mother.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
I like that. Yeah, that's
wait
about
a minute.
right.
I
yes.
was born here.
Yes.
I didn't have a choice. there's something to say about people like you that were born here and left,
Yes. Yeah.
and then made a choice
come back.
to
Yeah.
come back.
Yes. Yep. No.
So, when people say, well, I'm not really from my darling bride, I've only lived in Milford 30-some years. I'm not really from Milford. Really?
I think it qualifies.
Really?
Yeah, you live there that long. No, it's a good point. And, I've said this to anybody that will listen. I've been in 2 other high schools for 20 years combined. And I'll always say, and I say this in every presentation, 4 times this year, but 3 times a year, basically, fall, winter, and spring, to the parents and the kids and the players, right? And I always say, I have a different perspective. And I think I appreciate Milford in a different way, because if you were born here and you were brought up here, this is all you know, and that's a really good thing. However, I've been in other districts where they will tell you that they'll get you the money for this project that the kids need, or they'll get you the people power, right? And if you show up on Saturday morning, we'll build it. But guess what? When it comes time to write the check, some of those districts don't show up. The pen's not there. Oh, I forgot the check. Or, oh, you said this Saturday? Oh, we don't have the materials. Or, oh, we don't have enough people. This town, in my 8 years, has never missed the bell. When someone, you're proof of this, and the people, everybody I work with in this town, if you can prove to people that it's good for kids, it gets done. And by kids, I mean 1 to 100. I've never seen a town that takes care of their people the way this town. It's why I want to stay here. Like, there's always options to go to other places, but I don't want to do that.
It's so wonderful when somebody like you puts together a program, and the eyes of the nation are
it's
on
kind of cool.
Milford.
You're making me think about it. Like the superintendent, the principal, we talk about it, and we get all excited, and then you just go out and do your job, and you kind of forget about it. But you're kind of bringing me back. No, it was those 2 conferences were great. The summer, where people are coming, they're flying in from all over the world, right, to the Cape, and they're there for a week, and you got an hour with them, and you're presenting for like 40 minutes, and then it's like questions. Well, how did you do this? How do you do? And for me, it's just like, well, I had the support. And I've always wanted to do this, and we afford the 50-something captains that we have every year. These are tangible skills of leadership. We don't, I always say I was lucky enough to be a captain in high school and college, and I always open up every year with the same thing. What do you think my college and high school coaches said to me when I was voted in captain? Go lead warm-ups and keep them out of trouble. What does that mean, right? How do I help mitigate, drama, and how do you motivate, and how do you get out in front of situations, and how do you frame, attitude, and how do you change attitude if you have a program that needs to move forward? And, it's just, it's what's the best feedback is when the kids come back from college. We always have a couple of collegiate speakers, and one of the best was Leo Moranta. He came back and he said, I didn't know it when I was here, but when I get into the dorm and I became an RA, and crazy stuff was happening, and we always give them the top 12. They have these top 12 skills, and I asked them to take this piece of paper and tape it up in their locker. And if you do these 12 things every single day, your team's going to run pretty efficiently. Just those 12 things. And he just said to the kids, he goes, I'm a much better leader for hundreds of kids in my dorm because I follow the top 12. And I can say it, but when you have a star athlete like this young man come back, it carries weight, and I appreciate you just making note of it and
it's
just patting us on the
amazing
back.
Because little things.
Yeah.
And my life is a microcosm compared to what you have as influence on kids. But Holy Cross had an entrepreneurial studies program, and part of it is they asked alumni to come back, take a group of kids, and teach them how to make presentations.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Powerful.
some of the presentation, well, do a marketing plan. I looked at my kids and said, how did you guys draw the short straw?
Yeah.
He said, what do you mean? I said, you got me.
Yeah.
You better think about that again, because it's going to be 10 times the work. If you want to sign on, I'm going to teach you how to start up a biotech company from square one.
Oh my gosh.
And it was funny because I had helped a lot of the basketball players who were in these programs, and when I walked in, they all said hi, and I looked, I said, guys, I'm so proud of you. Look at you, you're working so hard for second place. Now, you tell these athletes.
Yeah, Larry Bird mentality, right?
Right, that you're working, And a couple of them said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, we know my team gets first."
Wow. I like it.
At the end,
I like it.
at the end of that session, my team looked at me and says, "You know what you've done?" I said, "Painted a big bullseye on your back."
Yep.
I said, "Now
Come
earn
and
it."
get it, right? Yep.
And they did. And it was so funny because years later, I get an email. "Do you remember when you taught us this? I used it today.
Yeah,
And it
see?
works." And that made me feel so. And
It
me,
matters. That matters.
It's,
It
I
makes it
got
all worthwhile.
12 kids that I'm doing this with, and
Yeah.
you've got I don't know how many hundreds.
Yeah, no, and what's really cool is it's probably the first time in months that I've stopped and thought about this. So I appreciate you like putting a microscope on it or spotlight, if you will. It's cool. No, so we brought in, and again, I Nikki and Dick and Rich and everybody, and just we have core values, and the minute I mentioned that, like people were like, "You have core values?" Like that was one of the presentations that I did down the Cape, and they're like, "What do you mean core values? Like with the school?" "No, with the athletic department." "What?" "I don't understand it, but I've always had rules for my teams and guidelines, and even when I was a principal, we had 3 core values for the school, and Mr. Otland has them, and it just so we have these 3 core values that I guarantee you every student athlete, grade 9 to 12, knows them, and the middle school kids are learning them. We're working on that, but they understand relentless pursuit of excellence. That's number 1. Academics, athletics, attitude, wherever you go. And then there's 2, championship sportsmanship. That's Milford. I didn't do that. All I did was take what you guys did years ago and I quantified it in 3 sentences. Third is
the most important part that I take away from this is that when your leaders, your athletes move into the real, I can't say real world because people get
No,
mad,
it's
but
real world. I agree with you. It is.
they
No,
become
yeah.
adults and now
Yeah.
they're playing for their living.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether they're playing soccer, baseball, boardroom, managing a manufacturing site, the skills you're teaching them. At the end of the day, leading a group of manufacturing folk is no different than leading a football team.
No, somebody's got to be out front, right? There's generals, there's lieutenants, and there's foot soldiers. That's what we tell them. You guys are either lieutenants or the generals, depending on where the coach is, because you're on the field. The coach can bark orders and run play. You have to execute and lead while you're moving.
That I loved. It was a bunch of runners, and the caption was, "If you're not the leader, the view is always the same."
Yeah, right? Powerful.
But that carries over because you learn the responsibility. You're not just skating. You're not drafting.
No. You got to get out front at some point if you really want to get where you're going, and that's what we try to, another piece of the puzzle is we always talk to the kids and the coaches about practicing, planning, and playing to win. I love alliteration. So we talk about that all the time. And there are some, listen, we have 30-something sports at the high school, right? We're not going to win the league in every one of them. We've won a lot of league championships in the Midwatch and the Hockomock and everything. But the thing is, this is how we frame it. We have a concrete set of goals, and one is to always make the tournament. So to do that, you got to be 500. So we look at it like, okay, maybe you're playing a great team, and maybe they're 10-0, and maybe we're 2-8 right now. We're 5-5. Doesn't matter. We practice, plan, and play to win. So that if we're in a situation where maybe they take us lightly, or they're the superior team, so to speak, or maybe they're just not geared up and they're not playing well today. If we've practiced to win, if we've got a game plan, right? I expect the coaches to have a game plan that they've communicated to the kids, and then we play to win. It can happen.
It's got to be helpful. I mean, I love the idea that you focus the nation on Milford.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I think about the athletic directors, the people in that realm, it's a small world.
Very small.
So the coaches in college are going to hear about the attitude and the successes of this little town called Milford.
Yes.
So maybe they look over, just one extra time.
Yeah, somebody who applies. You're right. I mean,
and you pick up a couple extra scholarships for kids who would have a hard time.
Maybe the door gets open a little bit. I can tell you this: we probably had at least, I can think of 7, if not 8, colleges that have reached out and said, if we pay you, will you come 1 day, 2 day with our captains? And my answer has been no, because Number one, we didn't do it for that. Like, we built this for Milford. One, we built it for Milford. Two, I didn't build it to make money. That's not what this was about. And three, to be truthful, we don't have time to subcontract. We don't. Like, that's not why. I don't know if I could get our staff to,
Yeah, but
to
the
go.
fact they're asking.
Yeah, I mean, they're asking Milford High School. Like, our
the
coaches.
fact they're
It's
asking.
coaches and me, and so admin. Dr. McIntyre comes in, Mr. Otland comes in. I asked Anthony Consigli, because he sponsors. He's our like gold sponsor right now, right? And he helps us a real lot with that. And he's going to come and speak, right? You should come in and speak. Actually, you should be the next guy up. But it's all Milford people. That's I haven't really had time to slow down this year and think. But no, it's really kind of blown up and it's gotten really big. And no, we feel really good about it. We're proud.
This can all sound good. It can be positioned, but the question comes up is, did it work? I mean, I heard the girls didn't do too bad.
No, that I have two really important. Like, there's a bunch of important things to share, but yeah, indoor track, right? We weren't sure it was going to happen.
The indoor track.
Like 2 years ago, the boys won the first indoor track championship in school history. So we were told that. We did our research. We tried to do as much as we could. This year, the girls broke out, went undefeated, won the league. Hockomock League, pretty competitive.
When was the last time we won a Hockomock League in girls track?
This was the first. Yeah, you're right. 10 years. This is the first that I'm aware of. Yeah, this is the first I'm aware
I mean,
of.
this is pretty. And
This is a
again, I
tough league
love
when it
what
comes to
you're
track.
setting up.
Yeah.
But if somebody says, "Where's the beef?" you turn around and say, "You want to see the trophy?"
Yeah, here it is. Boom. We're gonna put. We're gonna brand new banner. You know how cool it is to have to call up, the trophy. They're over in North Attleboro, and just say, "Hey, we don't need new numbers. We need a new banner. We need a whole new banner." And it's so cool because the boosters. Those are expensive because you don't buy too many of them, right? And the boosters are like, check's already written, buddy. Don't even worry about it.
That's something that
It's
you
awesome.
don't even think about.
Yeah.
A new banner.
We had to make room. We had to move the banner. Indoor track had to come in. Hockey won the first time 2 years ago, right? They won their conference, the Russell Conference. So we had to get a brand new banner. We have a girls co-op now, ice hockey. They have now won. We've had girls in that program for 2 years. We have a gal, Ashlyn Bennett, who is one of the best players in Central Mass.
Wow.
She was up for Central Mass Ice Hockey Player of the Year, right? So we have to get a new banner for them, which is really cool. I would love to share with you right now. Just as I was driving here, I got a text from PJ Boucher. We just defeated Milford Wrestling. Just defeated Franklin Wrestling,
right?
Like Big Bad Franklin, right? State champions. They win the league every year, and we kind of had an inkling. And I'm not going to really share how we scouted them. Let's just put it this way. We don't put a lot of our meets up on YouTube. So we don't like people scouting us. So when people get upset, how come that's not on TV? Well, there's a reason why we don't put our football games up on you. If you're going to find our film, you got to work for it.
Wait a minute.
Right?
Somebody who's playing Milford, you're not going to serve up the special sauce.
I'm just telling you, yes.
Yeah.
I'm very politely saying that we had a chance, and this is what we do. The coaches do small
And
things.
it's not because
strategize.
we don't have the filming capability.
No. We film. We just don't put it up
Publish.
on YouTube. Yeah. Maybe at the end of the season, you'll see our football games now, right? Football had a tremendous season. Beat King Philip, almost beat Mansfield, beat Franklin. We're kind of back on the map now.
But before we move on to football,
Yeah, sorry, I get
tell
it.
me about what made the difference. First time ever. When I say the girls did okay.
Yeah.
It's like when my inherited daughter, Amy, came on, and she said, "Yeah, our team did okay. We got a gold medal at the Olympics." I was like, "Yeah, that's okay."
Time out. That's pretty darn good.
That's okay.
We'll take that.
So the girls, for the first time, was there any standout? Had to
Stop
be
right
a
there.
few.
We've got 7 or 8 gals right now who are potential, definitely league champions, if not divisional state champions, and some could be the entire. Like this spring, we've just kind of been told they're going to greenlight at least divisional track and field championships. I would just say to people, get ready, because red and white's coming. Like we've had years where the boys were really powerful. The girls right now, wow, they're that good. Our relay teams we have a 4x4 team that is nationally ranked right now.
This, pardon me asking a silly
Yeah.
question, but it's a pandemic. We can't practice. We can't.
Right. Other towns don't practice,
I was
right?
going to say, how many
Yeah.
towns around us, we can't.
Yeah.
How did Milford
We
not
don't use the word
understand
can't. No, we just press forward. You know, the brothers and sisters that can run together, run together. The kids that, you know, don't have any siblings, they show up at the track at certain times. They know they can't, you know, be, you know, on the same side of the track. It's all orchestrated. And I will say this, I want to give, you know, our town, okay, the folks that pay the bills, right? I want to give our school committee, our admin, putting in the middle school teams has been really, really helpful. We have 12 middle school teams. We'll have 13 or 14 next year. Some of these kids we knew in middle school were just
But wasn't
powerful.
that the pitch?
Yeah.
I mean, when
Yeah.
the extra money was needed to expand to the middle school,
Yes.
it was, this will help the varsity,
Yeah.
the junior, the whole
There were three reasons,
feeder.
and I'll be brutally honest with you. One, we knew it would help our high school teams. Two, we felt it would help if we could connect our middle school to our high school. Kids would matriculate to the high school, right? The middle school track team comes up to the high school every day. They practice side by side with that's legal. We have one track in town. That's what we do. It's totally acceptable. It's MIA. It's fine. Third, though, I got to be honest. We wanted kids to be active at the middle school, like 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's great that they're out there every day, running around, throwing stuff, jumping stuff. You know, we've got wrestling, we've got soccer, we've got cross country, we've got volleyball. I mean, we're really trying to keep kids active. And what's awesome is when you roll the ball out for soccer at Town Park, right? The kids, the fans come with them. You know, or you have volleyball and you say, hey, stop, we're full, we're at capacity, we can't fit any more people. You know you're doing it right. Like then you kind of forget about winning and losing. They're being active and
You
they're
know,
competing.
1 and 2 are great, but number 3, if you can get teens and preteens
Yes,
expending that much energy in a positive way,
yes,
you've won already.
exactly.
You know?
Just a full team you're happy. Hey, we got 20 kids that came out for boys soccer. We're happy. 18 girls came out for girls soccer. We're in a good place.
It's so different because nothing against my parents, but they weren't at all the events.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? When we played, when we did this or we did that, your parents didn't go.
No, they worked. No, they had to work.
They were
right?
still at work by the time, you know, my dad gets home from General Motors at 5. He can't take off. I mean, one of the women I work with said, my daughter has a special game today. I said, well, then what the heck are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know?
Why,
Now,
right?
I know the 2 or 3 hours she took off, she's going to give me back 8.
Exactly. There's that loyalty, right?
She's going to give me back more than I could ever ask. But what I told her was, I said, look, you can always do the letters tonight, tomorrow. You can't make
You don't
up
get that game
for
back.
the look you're going to see on your daughter's face.
No.
You know, and so you're not only helping the kids. I mean, I got to admit, you know, people say, oh, you help the kids do this. You help. Yeah, but more than half of the benefit is me. I get to be with my daughter.
Yeah, yep. No, it's you know, I tell people the best part of my day is the afternoon because I put everything away. I'm out watching practices. And what's great about our staff, they know I'm, you know, I don't know what the word is, energetic, intense, whatever. But, you know, I coached and played a lot of these sports. So, you know, I'll say, hey, do you want me to work with the defense back over for a couple? Yeah, jump in. So, you know, you work with that and then track, I go out and help with, you know, or even, you know, it doesn't matter what the sport is. If I can jump in, look, volleyball. I play
Plus
volleyball.
having somebody new come in.
Yeah, yes.
Used to drive me crazy when I was coaching, trying to teach header drills and proper header drills. You'd have to force it.
Yep.
Every so often, the girls from the U.S. national team would be coming over to my house for dinner, and I told them, you got to pay for dinner.
Hello.
Run my practice.
That's it.
Now, if they said do a header, all the girls immediately were lining up.
Boom.
Here's
Not a
it's
peep
like-
by bet either, right?
And it's a visitor, you know? So having somebody else come in.
Yeah, it definitely, and for me, it's just as rewarding for me because I miss coaching, you know, terribly, but I get to help with everything, and you just, you know, the kids and the coaches really allow me to
So
assimilate.
girls track, record breakers.
Yeah, yep.
Who is next up on the list?
I would go to football. I would say what a tremendous turnaround. First of all, we jumped up to the Kelly Rex because of enrollment. That put us into the big division in the Hockomock League. And, we
But
hired.
isn't it an achievement on it? Being in the Hockomock League, I think sets you apart from almost everybody else.
Yeah, it's and I know we listen, I'm very respectful of all the leagues in this state, but I think what sets the Hockomock apart is the depth. The Midwalk, Tri-Valley, Bay State, those are powerful leagues. Their top three can match up with the Hockomock top three, no question. The difference with the Hawk is, I'll give you boys soccer, right? State champions, division champions this year. You're the number 1 team. You can play the number 10 team. Number 10 team can beat you.
Yeah.
They can in this league. That's not normal in other leagues. It's not. You get those, I don't know,
you
call
get the
them layups.
top, middle, and
Yes, yeah. And the easy
I
games.
won't say the lower, but
Yeah, they're not as competitive. But, you take a look at like 10, 11, even 12 in this league. You don't get a night. I call it the NFL of high school sports because you don't get a night off in this league in any sport. I can't think of a sport that isn't deep with 12 teams that goes 10, 11 deep. Sometimes 12, like with football. This league is 11 deep.
and it's rated as hard, harder, and hardest.
Yes, yeah.
There's
Yep.
no easy group.
No.
There's not 2 or 3 towns that you could say, we can take it a little easy.
No, you got to be on
Put in
every
the B
night.
squad. There is
No.
no easy group.
No, and that it's hard in some sports if we're not super. But like I'll give you an example. Our girls basketball team didn't win a lot of games, but I can tell you right now, they were a good team. It's just we faced the iron of this league, and I kept telling them. And I think I appreciate it because I felt like I had a connection with a lot of the teams. But I think they heard me after one game. We played a really tough team, and I said, ladies, I got to tell you, I love the effort, the energy, and the intensity. And one of the captains said, yeah, but we didn't win. I go, time out. That team, non-COVID, that team's going to the state finals. And you guys held them within like 18 points tonight. We were at 9 points at halftime. I go, you ladies are a good team. We're just in a brutal league.
But now, you're not only in the Hockomock. Now they're moving you up to the big school Hockomock.
Yeah, we're there. We've been there all year, yes, yeah.
So how did we do?
Listen, we've competed. You take a team like football that jumped up from the small division. We beat everybody except for Mansfield, who was a perennial Super Bowl champion. Not just taking the ride to Gillette. They take the trophy home with them. So, and I got to tell you, short of 2 funky plays, we might still be playing right now. It was 7-7, and we were battling them, and we just had tough kids, knowledgeable coaches. Dale Olson, wonderful hire. He's just, I'm a phys ed teacher at heart, right? Wellness teacher. He just knows how to teach football. And he doesn't scream and yell. And if you make a mistake, come over here. You see where you were supposed to be over here? You had to slip over here. It doesn't go bonkers. And the kids responded. He coached here 2 years ago as one of our coordinators. And the kids they meshed so quickly. He brought in a great staff. A couple of Milford guys stayed with him. And it just worked. It just worked. And that's what we're trying to do, hire the best coaches that fit for what we're trying to do. We always have great candidates, but who's going to fit like a glove and fit this program? Swimming, right? We talked about swimming.
Yeah, now swimming.
Man.
I mean, one of these days, we're going to deal with the fact that you're not going to get a new banner. But let's hope that we get a new field house.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Go big or go home, right? This is the town that does it. Go bigger. We're not just going to build a new gym. Let's build a field house that fits this town.
And I think a lot of times when you go up to places like Shrewsbury.
Yes, yeah.
And you looked around and you said,
this enormous gym.
Our kids deserve
Track,
this.
Training.
Our kids deserve this.
Yes.
So someday, we've been getting yapped at about saying there's a school coming. But hopefully.
Yes. I hope I'm still here to help open that school. I mean, that's my goal. I know I got a good number of years.
5 years,
to
6 years. But one of the
I'm young at heart.
that would keep us from building a new school was the swimming pool would go away.
I don't think it has to go away, though, right?
The SBA won't pay for it.
Yeah.
If you went and said, we're going to tear down the old school.
Yeah.
The auditorium. I mean, look at Woodland. We had to build a cafetorium.
Yes, true.
Because couldn't build an auditorium unless we paid 100%.
Yeah.
We have a fantastic pool.
Yes.
You know, Chappie, they've really taken care of that old pool.
Phenomenal. Lenny Morcone, Chappie, all the people involved.
There was something unique this year about that pool.
Yeah, you don't miss anything. I appreciate you paying attention. So we were the only high school that we're aware of in New England and all of Rhode Island. We know that because Chappie's got great contacts, and I know a lot of the swim people too, but it's definitely Coach Chappie, that was able to host in-person meets. Why? Because you folks built a great pool so long ago that we were able to use the upper deck and warehouse kids. And, you know, Chappie devised this amazing system where they would, in a circular motion, come down the back stairs, step outside real quick, step into the pool. Okay, you're going to go swim the 100.
Looked like that pea game.
Yes, yeah, just shifting people around.
Moving kids everywhere.
But it made sense, and we could fit people. So everybody else was swimming what we would call a composite meet, or, you know, a remote meet. So Canton's in Canton, and Stoughton swims in Randolph, right?
And then you compare
and then you
the
crunch.
results.
You swim. I'd be swimming next to you, my teammate, right, in the 100. I have no idea what Canton's doing, and then we crunch the results. Not the same. Not the same. We hosted all in person. You know, Franklin, King Philip, Mansfield, Taunton opted to go with a remote meet. It's the only one we did. Didn't feel the same. Our kids were amazing. Coach Chappie and Coach Janosko pumped in fan music, right? So it sounded like there was hundreds of fans in the place, but it wasn't the same. Wasn't the same. And we were even able to host a league meet. So Coach Chappie and our swim folks, and I helped a little bit, not a ton. It's Coach Chappie, Coach Janosko, Coach Oliver. 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Every 2 hours, we brought in 2 teams, and they swam against each other. And then two and a half hours later, 15 minutes to, you know, clean everything up. And 2 more teams came in, and then we crunched everything.
You know, it's got to be
Creativity, right? You know,
it's got to be a different feeling when I'm looking at you
Yes.
on the blocks,
Yep.
and I'm thinking, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And then I see you, whereas
You have no idea.
I think I'm doing good.
Yeah. You know, the watch says I'm doing good, but what if that guy who's good over at Canton had a really great, I didn't get the chance to go toe to toe. He's not next to me, left or right. You know, it's
Plus,
not
I
the
didn't
same.
have a chance to look him dead in the eye and say, I beat you.
Yeah, I'm coming to get you, or you
I
know,
gotcha.
Yes, yeah.
You know, stepping out of that pool,
Yep.
not saying a word to be a good sport, but
Yeah.
knowing you're watching.
Yeah. Hey, want me to get you some water? Yeah. I finished. You know, that's the attitude. We don't want you to say it out loud, but the kids know. That's the attitude, right? I'll get you some
So
water.
the swim meets, again, unique, Milford.
Yeah, for sure. It's, you know, and that's just, you know, that's just the tone of what this town does. It's, we don't use the word can't, right? You never have, you won't. This town doesn't use, you know,
Not when it comes to our kids.
No, find a way. That's what I've noticed here. It's how I used to coach, and that's why I think it works here, because people just have adopted my intensity, because it matches what you folks already do normally. It's normal. It's Milford. It's not, doesn't work everywhere, because there were other towns that were happy shut down. They were happy not to have
but
the
again,
athletics,
Pete,
you know?
Think of what you're teaching these kids. The easiest thing was we don't have to practice.
Nope.
Nobody's going to blame us for not having a
Sure.
good team.
Yeah, there's a
The girls,
pandemic.
you came in 3rd or 4th. It's a pandemic. It's
Yeah.
the moon, the rain, the dog, the cat. Nobody's going to blame you. But wow, what are you teaching them that they're going to take for the rest of their lives? Saying,
Yeah. We battle
Nah,
through. We fight. You
the
know, we
word
press
can't
forward.
is not in the Milford.
Nope, not a vocabulary.
vocabulary.
Nope. And that's, you know, and it's funny, I don't often get a chance to sit down and talk about it, because it's usually me and my brain. But when we sit and talk for a second, like, that's powerful. Like there are kids that will come back or email and say, you know, like I heard you yelling when I was running today. What are you talking about? You're up in Vermont. No, I heard you yelling, because you used to yell at the track meets or at the swim meets.
Yeah.
And like, I heard you, and you know.
It's ingrained.
Yeah, it's there, you know, and they hear Chappie and they hear, you know, Coach Derek and all these people. It's just, they understand that, you know, we'll dig a hole under it,
but
we'll
again,
hurdle it, we'll do whatever we got to do.
You think about the kids growing up. Chappie's been there, what, 1-2 years?
30-something?
I was going to say.
Who's counting?
He's been there a couple
Yeah,
years.
and I hope he
you know.
stays with us, yeah.
He's past his 3rd decade.
Yeah.
it's the pool that Chappie built. He
Yeah.
didn't build it,
You're
but
right.
it is.
Right, you're right. But he built the culture. And we talk about that a lot as coaches. You know, as a business person, as a former athlete, right? Culture's everything. Expectations, accountability, and goals. You take those three things and you merge them and you make them real. Like, you got to be at practice for 3. Well, you can't roll in at 3:02.
Right.
Because there's consequences for that. You know, and we tell the kids, you can't be late. If you had a presentation at work on Thursday, you can't roll in and say, yeah, I couldn't get to it, I was tired. No. You don't have a job anymore. So you have to produce.
Yeah, or the guy that was competing, the gal that was your competitor, just walked away with the order.
Yeah,
Why?
you're right. Yeah,
Because she showed up.
that's right. And she got it done. You know, and that's what we're trying to teach. And
So football, then what?
oh boy, I'm trying to think.
You had what, 12 at the high school?
We have 12 sports going on right now. We have 6 at the middle school. That's just sports. That's not even levels. That doesn't count varsity, JV, freshman. You know, we're busy right now. We're like, I've said to my wife, like, don't expect me before 9 o'clock Monday through Friday, and Saturday mornings we come in and stuff. So I get a day and a half with the family. I try to be a good dad when I get home. It's we're busy, but you know how cool it is when you go out in the afternoon and the turf is busy with girls lacrosse and guys lacrosse is waiting to get on, and the track team's out there, and softball, and the 2 tennis teams are practicing. You drive down to Fino and they're at Vadalato. It's just, if you don't get fired up over that, like me, there's something
But
wrong
that
with
was
it. It's
how
not right.
we tucked away 1.2 million in the long range or the short range, whichever you want to look at it,
Yeah.
to re-turf another field.
Yes.
When the
But
park,
that's the difference. I'm gonna jump in right there. I'm gonna tell you where I graduated, right? Where I coached for 12 years, Hall of Fame, all that wonderful stuff. It took 25 years. 25, not 5, not 2, 25 to get 1 turf. How does that? Do you see the difference? And I don't say that with any great
Yeah.
pride. I just know that this town, like when you say like we tucked away 1.2, that's because the powers that be in this town, the stewards of this town, yourself included, I know there's a bunch of guys, and I won't embarrass them by mentioning all sorts of names, but you folks have decided that we are going to plan for the future. We're not only planning for, June 30th or the flip over to the
You
next
think about
year.
it.
That's critical.
we've had this discussion about, I'm doing this, I'm putting my time in for my kids.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, you don't have any kids in the school. I said, I got 4,500.
Yes. Right.
I have 4,500 kids
Yes.
in the school system that we have to worry about today, tomorrow, and down the road.
That's it. This it takes a village to raise a child. We got 4,500 children. And we got to raise them all.
The
right?
whole town meeting, the attitude, when you come and you say, now we don't do it often because you have to be careful,
Yeah,
but
be
when you
judicial,
come and
yeah.
say, we need this for our kids,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay. They'll debate it, they'll
Yeah.
beat it up, but there's never a question. If our kids, all 4,500, the football players needed a new stadium, we built it. The girls need a new softball field, we built.
Yes, I came
You
on right
start
about
going
that.
down that
Yeah.
list,
Yep.
and the town meeting has always come through because we're stingy on a lot of stuff. That way we can tuck money away.
No, it's culture. It's culture. I can tell you, there's a town in our league. I think there's 377 districts in Massachusetts. I think they're 375th per pupil expenditure in the town. And what they've done is they've perpetuated an attitude that, well, you guys figure it out. Each team in that town has to buy uniforms. So if you're the cross-country boosters, you got to get the school doesn't pay for uniforms. Now, that is unheard of, right? We are the complete opposite of that, where buses, coaches, uniforms, equipment, it gets taken care of because that's really what we should be doing.
Pete, why are we working? You know what I mean? And
Paying it forward. That's how I look at it.
but that's it. It's a cycle. I mean, I sat there and said, okay, my girls are out, but now I got my grandkids coming in.
Yeah, right?
So it's always going to be. What's the next sport you want to talk about?
Ooh, I would say looking into the spring right now, maybe jumping in. We got our 12 sports, We have wrestling in the spring, which is unusual, but, on the task force.
How did you keep that going? Because all the press
said it
says
wasn't gonna happen.
wrestling is the most risky
Yep.
sport. And I read that most places were shutting down.
Yeah, a lot. You know what? A lot of leagues. There's many leagues that didn't play in the fall. They didn't play in the winter, and they dumped everything in the fall too, and then the spring. And now there's kids that, I played all of these sports. How do I choose, right? And I think our league did a good job divvying up the sports. And I think one of my platforms on the state task force was, we're not leaving anybody behind. If let's say, just an example, basketball can't go in the winter. Well, we're going to move them to fall too. Please don't say we're just dropping them. That's not acceptable. That's not fair to all those kids, all those coaches, all those fans, all those families, right? So we waited, and we kept pushing, and we kept moving things back, and we were very judicial, and we planned, and we debated, and then we finally, soccer evolved into basketball, right? Contact sport. Soccer was very protected. Basketball lightened up a little. We had some vaccines out there, and we were able to have more contact. Basketball evolved into football, right? The third season, a lot of contact, but there's only 9 or 10 minutes of contact in a 60-minute game.
I was going to say, I would think soccer would be worse because
It
football,
was. Yes, it was.
intensity, but you're going for
Quick,
what, 5,
boom,
6 seconds?
And you're out.
Break.
You're right, break. So there's not a real transmission chance. But basically, the folks, the medical staff out there that were on the state task force said, if we can get through football, we're going to get behind wrestling. So we were just patient, and the State Coaches Association in wrestling, they were very smart. They got out in front of it and said, we'd like to move to spring. It's our only chance, right? So they did a nice job with that, and competitive cheer did the same thing. They moved from fall, and they bumped to fall 2, and then everything got moved, and it all made sense. It was patience and perseverance, which is something we've preached since the beginning.
You took a chance. How did it work out?
Well, good point. Right now, we are wrestling, right? We've had 2 meets. We wrestled North Attleboro, who's a state powerhouse, came down to the last match, right? We were in it the whole time. It was just awesome. The place was electric. We were at capacity for COVID fans and families, right? You wouldn't have known there was COVID. I mean,
That's what I'm asking. Okay, we took a chance. When was it the start? 3 weeks ago?
Yes. Yep.
About
exactly.
3 weeks?
Exactly 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
So if there was a super spreader event,
We would have known.
by now,
Yes. Yep.
we would know.
Yep. And that's the beauty of it. It's just, it is work, and you and I have talked like off camera. We've got the vaccines out there now. There's some immunity built up, and people could debate all that. But for the most part, we're following rules, we're following guidelines, and we're in pods now. Guys just don't wrestle. There's 2 or 3 in a pod, and that's all you can wrestle. So we keep an eye on that group. Anybody, I will have to say, our school nurses, our athletic trainer, have been phenomenal. Our administration, I'm not going to lie to you. There's been weekends where, we've had a positive come up on a team, and it's 8 to 10 hours on a Saturday where you're calling people and, well, who did you have contact with, and who did you
Contact tracing.
Contact tracing. It's, Josh Otland, Kevin McIntyre, our 2 school, Angela and Kayla and Whitney. They have gone above and beyond. It's just, I can't explain. There was one weekend, we lost the entire weekend. Like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on a Saturday, and like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on a Sunday. But we finally got it right, and we knew who we had to hold out for a couple of days and say, listen, you gotta follow the protocol. But that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And you follow the rules, and kids are masking up, and they, I think our kids were as disciplined as anybody, not socializing, not right out there. The kids, they do. But for the most part, I can say like 99% of our kids followed the rules, and it's the reason we've stayed viable.
They are teenagers.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, I mean, I know we were perfect. We always followed the rules.
I'm going to say yes.
Right. We walked uphill both ways to the school.
Yeah, and it was snowing.
But again, part of that leadership council training, the responsibility they take on, the discipline they accept. Now all of a sudden, okay, we're not going out partying.
No. He's
You're
staying
not seeing
home.
30 or 40 kids partying. And let's face it, they're high school
Yeah,
kids.
they're going to hang out, but
Limited.
we tell them during the season, and I can tell you, like the football kids, they followed the rules. It's the reason we were able to get to those final games or those meets or matches that ended the season. And, you know, we had small tournaments in the Hockomock League in the fall and the winter to try and simulate, you know, a tournament atmosphere. And our kids sacrificed, and our coaches
Well,
did too.
but
And our
again-
families did.
People could say, well, did they really? Well, guess what? The health statistics would rat them out.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can say anything you want, but all I got to ask is how many football kids got COVID? How many girls on the track team got COVID?
Right?
So
know,
I don't need to hear a speech from you or anybody else.
No.
I just got to go to the Milford Hospital and say,
Where are we at? Or just come out to the fields because we're still practicing
well,
and playing, right?
it's still out there.
Yeah, you know, we're out there. So, no, we're pumped about that. It's lacrosse is rolling, tennis is rolling, softball, baseball is rolling, the two track teams.
How is lacrosse doing? I mean, that's a relatively new sport.
It's new,
for
yeah.
Milford.
You know, no, there's no way. We're struggling. We're fighting. We're struggling. You know, this is listen, King Philip, Foxborough, and Franklin go to the deep state division
been doing
1,
it
2, 3.
forever.
Yeah, so, you know, you got to play them a couple times. It's hard. But you know what?
But are you getting enough athletes signing up for lacrosse?
You know, here's an interesting answer. Like, COVID has affected everybody. The big schools, Taunton, 2,300 kids in their school, right? They are not hosting, you know, JV teams and freshman teams like they normally would. Why? COVID. Some people have chosen not to come out. Other people, because there's so many sports converging in this final season that, you know, we have wrestling and track. We have kids that had to make a choice. So we're watered down.
But
We're watered
let's
down.
face it, when we grew up, you played football in the fall, basketball in the winter, baseball in the spring.
Right.
Nothing ever.
No, nothing ever crossed over. There was no cross-pollination. We have a lot of cross-pollination right now. So that's challenging us. You know, our boys lacrosse team, we only have varsity. We did co-op with Hopedale. We picked up 4 or 5 Hopedale kids. Girls lacrosse, we have JV and varsity. A year or two ago, before COVID hit, we had freshmen. We had tons of girls come out. So, you know, we're
But you're able to keep the teams competing.
viable. Yes, yeah. We're fighting. We're you know, we use the term practice hard to win easy, right? That's, you don't win games on game. Everybody wants to win on game day, but you win in practice, days, weeks, months beforehand. So the kids are working hard. I'm proud of them. They give 100%. So all I ask is, even when we play a perennial state powerhouse like Franklin Boys Lacrosse, if you're giving 110% every single second, I'll cheer for you all day long. I don't care what the score is. And I mean that. Like, we're working to get to that level, and we're making forward progress, but that's how you move forward, is you struggle through those difficult times, and you learn that, hey, that's a really good team over there. That's where we want to be. But to get there, we got to play them. We got to practice hard. We got to plan hard. We got to play hard. And we're getting there.
So do we have baseball and softball coming up?
Yes, yep. They're playing. Baseball was playing as I left today. Playing Stoughton, another good team. Softball's playing. We have all 3 levels in baseball. We have freshman, JV, and we have middle school, right? We have middle school softball, and we have JV, and we have varsity softball. The kids are working hard. We're playing, and you know, it's hard to predict how well we'll do because we're only 2 or 3 games into the season right now. But they're playing.
Yeah,
they're
but
fighting.
again, the fact that they're playing, they're not taking on the can't attitude.
No way.
You know what I mean? You turn around and say, when you step on the field and you see 9 girls anxious,
Yep.
and
Running
you
out
see
there.
a whole bench full saying, put me in, coach.
Yeah, I'm ready. Ready to play, right? Yeah, yep.
Oh, right there, you sit there and say, we've won.
Yeah.
They didn't adopt the can't. Because
No,
let's
we're
face
coming
it,
at you.
as high school kids, there's a lot to distract them.
100. Oh my gosh, think about that. Technology,
We're just
all
hanging
sorts
out.
of stuff. Yeah, just doing
Just
nothing.
being
It's
a
easy
kid.
to do nothing. You know, I will tell you this: we were trying to reschedule a baseball game because now this is what keeps me 12 hours a day here. We got senior week. We got senior activities coming up. We got 12 schools in this league, and you're supposed to black out those days. Well, 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 12 is 40. That's a lot of days. Now, we're lucky some graduation days are the same as, but we got down to it. And I was talking to the captains and the coaches, and we were trying to figure out, like, we might have to play Sunday at 10 a.m. I don't know if the other team will play. And one of the captains goes, Coach, put the lights on at midnight Saturday. We'll meet him there. And I just went,
But see,
boom, we've won.
you just said it
that's
again.
the attitude.
I don't know if the other team,
Yeah.
it wasn't, Coach, let me ask
No,
our team if
no.
we'll show up.
We had 3 captains saying, Coach, put the lights on at midnight. We'll play. Okay, let's do this. You know, like, that's the attitude. So, and that's what I've always loved about Milford. And I can say from playing Milford way back in the 80s, I'm old, you didn't want to play Milford because most of the time we lost. And even if you were lucky to get a W, you didn't feel like you won. You went home sore. Things hurt. Like, this is a tough town. And I feel like we're still pretty tough. And we're trying to maintain that integrity of those generations of people that played. They practiced tough. They played tough. They planned
The
tough.
thing I love seeing is that we're not adopting the can't.
No.
We're playing, and whether we win the league, which is nice.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm so proud of the girls, the first time ever.
Yeah.
You got to, but the eyes of the nation are on Milford.
Yeah.
And it's not because, and I don't mean any disrespect, but it's not because the girls won the league.
Yeah. No.
There's plenty of other towns that won
Everybody
a league.
wins the league, right? Somebody wins the league every year. Right. No, it's a good point.
It's the attitude.
Yeah.
You know, it's the support from the community. It all builds up.
No, it does. It's a nucleus, and I was kind of shocked when this Gary Stevens up in Portland, a little farther up, Sebago, Maine, and he just called. He said, "We want to talk to you." And I'm thinking, what did I do wrong? Like, what, did I break
I'm being
a rule?
called to the principal's office.
Hold on, I got to call. No. And I was kind of joking because I knew him a little bit. He goes, "No, like, we just don't understand how you guys are rolling right now." And what was cool for me is we took a break, and this was all of our spring coaches. You know, we just pushed through the spring and the summer. And when you stop and you press pause for a second, and you look around and you go, what we're doing is normal to us. We never thought about shutting down. Yeah. We just sat as a group of head coaches and people and said, how are we going to practice? Not are we going to,
Right.
How are we going to do this?
Coach, turn the lights on at midnight.
Yeah.
And that will serve them well when they go out into the real world and they need a presentation done the next morning, and they'll be turning on the lights at midnight when their competitors won't.
No, they'll be shutting the lights off saying, I got to get some sleep, and our crew will be saying, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be prepared.
We'll be ready. We'll go first. We'll go last, whatever you want.
I hope that you get a flavor for how special these programs are and the people, the coaches. You know, we laugh and say, Chappie's been there a year or two, or is that 3 decades plus? You know, all of these people who love Milford, who love the kids in Milford, we should admire. We should tip our hats to them because they're giving us pleasure in the short term with the sports victories, with watching the kids play, but more importantly, they're building a culture of winners. And that's what matters, because 99.9% of these kids need to be winners outside of sports. And my hat's off to you, because you're making it happen.
Thank you. We appreciate the support.
And we'll see you come the summer. We'll see you for a wrap-up of the spring.
You got it.
And as always, to our 6 loyal viewers, may God bless. May tomorrow be a better day than today. Good night, all.
Thank you.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life just